11/23 of '02,
Yes, sir.
and you recognize your attorney there, Mr. Abood,
Yes, sir.
and Mr. Abood, you recognize your client there, Mr. Soto.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, you wish to waive having this done in the actual courtroom, and you're willing to do it on a Zoom hearing this afternoon.
Yes, sir.
The plea, that is. All right. Okay. So, I understand there's a plea agreement. Would you like to state it on the record, Ms. Espinosa? But you're on mute.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I was on mute. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Give me 1 second, Judge. I want to.
It's 2 years deferred, Judge.
I think you're
Make
right. but
sure.
That's the note I have, but I'll let her find it.
Yes, it is 2 years deferred. I'm sorry, Judge. I wanted to make sure.
Always good to be double sure. Okay, so the plea agreement is 2 years adult probation deferred. And is that your understanding of the plea agreement, Mr. Abood?
Yes, it is, Judge.
Is it also your understanding of the plea agreement, Mr. Soto?
It is, Your Honor.
Now, you understand the plea agreement is not absolutely binding upon me, but should I choose not to follow it, should I choose to be harsher than that, you could withdraw your plea. We could proceed to a trial on this matter at a later date. But if you follow if I follow the plea agreement, it is final. You cannot appeal the case. You cannot withdraw your plea without my consent. You would begin serving that probation immediately. You understand that.
It is, Your Honor.
Okay, now, we have in front of us some documents marked State's Exhibit 1. The guilty plea and waiver forms in this case. They bear the signature of your attorney, the state's attorney, and what appears to be your signature. Did you, in fact, sign these documents?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you read them before you signed them?
Yes, Your Honor. I took my time and everything.
Good. And did you understand what you were reading and signing?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did your attorney further explain to you the meaning of the documents?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any question about their meaning?
I don't know.
Okay, so if there's never any question, let me briefly explain to you what they mean. Primarily two things. First, you're coming into court telling me through a judicial confession, yes, Judge, I did commit this offense. And secondly, you're telling me that you understand that you're giving up some valuable rights here today. The most important of these rights, your right to a trial by jury, not only upon the issue of guilt, not guilt, but also upon the issue of any potential punishment. You fully understand that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Understanding that, how do you plead then to this charge, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Enter your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily.
Yes.
Are you-
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Did anybody force you or threaten you, coerce you, or in any way make you plead guilty?
No, Your Honor.
Anybody promise you anything or persuade you in such a manner you felt you had to plead guilty, other than the plea agreement stated on the record in open court here this afternoon?
No, Your Honor.
Now, you understand the potential punishment for this offense. I believe this is a felony of the second degree, not less than 2 years nor more than 20 years in prison, a fine not to exceed $10,000. But instead of putting you in prison, I can place you on probation for any number of years, not less than 2 nor more than 10. You understand I have to sentence you somewhere within those general guidelines.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are a U.S. citizen?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how old are you, sir?
I'm 21.
How far did you go in school?
I finished school.
High school graduate?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can certainly read and write the English language.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been under the care of a psychiatrist or psychologist for mental health, mental illness issues?
No, sir.
Suffered any serious head injuries?
No, sir.
And are you telling me that you are mentally competent? You understand everything that's going on here today?
Yes, Your Honor.
And counsel, you've had time to go over the facts and circumstances of the case, the legal aspects of the case, and had time to evaluate your client's mental status.
Yes, I have, Your Honor.
Based on all that, are you representing to me that you believe he is mentally competent to enter this plea?
Yes, he is, Your Honor.
Then based on your representations, Mr. Abood, your representations, Mr. Soto, the court's observations of you in court, both here today and prior occasions, I find that you're competent to enter the plea. State may summarize the evidence.
Yes, Your Honor. Had the state proceeded to trial in this case, the state would have proven beyond a reasonable doubt each and every element in the offense of robbery as alleged in the indictment. The state moves to introduce State's Exhibits 1 through 2, which are the plea papers and the 3914 disclosure form.
Any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
Received. Based on the evidence before the court finds the evidence sufficient to find the defendant guilty, but I am not finding you guilty because this is a deferred plea. That means I'm going to wait until some later date to finally adjudicate or decide your case. And that's going to be based on your conduct. If you do well on probation, at the end of that probation, if it's not revoked, then the case against you is dismissed. That's the good way for deferred probation to end. It's because then there would be no conviction against you. And hopefully that would be some advantage to you in the future, particularly in job opportunities and things like that. But if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you commit other offenses, you stop reporting, you may violate in other ways. If you do that, you can be brought back before the court. And if I found that you had violated your probation, I could revoke that probation and sentence you all the way up to 20 years in prison. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And understanding that, you still want me to grant your motion for deferred adjudication.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's see. Were you working before you were arrested here?
Sorry?
Were you employed? Were you working? Did you have a job?
Yes. Right now I work in construction. I have 5 Airbnbs in El Paso.
So you do construction work. Now, where are you living? Are you married? Do you have a wife, children? Or you live with family? What's your living arrangements?
Single.
Single? You live on your own?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What are your plans when you get out?
Keep on with my Airbnb and just follow my probation. Just do good.
All right. Well, I will follow the recommendation then. 2 years deferred probation, and good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Aboud.
May I
And
be
then
excused?
you may. All right.
If you have any questions, Soto, give me a call.
Okay, gotcha. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Okay, now let's see. Let me do, let's see, is Mr. Uraga there?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm here.
Okay. Let's proceed then on your case. That is Pedro Alamo, correct?
It is, Your Honor, yes.
Okay. And this is a bond hearing.
Correct.
Mr. Uraga, did you get my message?
I'm reading it right now on the chat.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Sorry.
The defendant had, let's see, there's 2 charges pending against him. One is the injury to child. One is the new case, the DWI 3. And that was the violation of his PR condition. He was on a PR in part on the injury case when let's see, is the defendant present? Okay. How old is Mr. Uraga?
My
Pardon,
client,
not
Your
Mr.
Honor?
No, I'm sorry, Mr. Alamo. I think, yeah. No, I'm sorry. That was
Yeah,
the-
no, Mr. Alamo is 52 years of age, Your Honor.
Okay, and the person that he got in the scuffle with, it wasn't a child, it was
No,
an
it was a 65-year-old male as well.
65-year-old
They were roommates, yes.
and they were like roommates. And so
Correct.
they're not exactly the same age, but they're not, like, one isn't real young and one isn't real old. They're both at least middle-aged or older. And let's see, what is the bond that he is on?
Right now, he has a $10,000 bond on this case, Your Honor.
$10,000.
Yeah, he's released on the DWI on a PR bond. That's what I see on the system, unless you have something different.
Is there a wreck on this case yet, Ms. Espinosa?
Yes, Your Honor, and I apologize. We were trying to make contact with the complaining witness, but I just put a rec in for the lesser included offense of assault, time served. 130 days, I'm sorry.
Lesser assault,
Yes, Your Honor.
time served. That's on the injury case. Now, we don't have any rec on the DWI 3 yet. But that's really not, he's already out on bond on that one. I don't have any say-so on that bond. That's not what we're here on. We're only here on this other case where I'm not here to look at the bond on the DWI 3, right, Mr. Uraga?
Correct, Your Honor. He's as far as my understanding, that case is not holding him in jail.
What's holding him is I revoked his PR bond based on the new offense.
Correct.
Or where he had a PR bond on the assault case. And so now you're allowing him to recommend lesser assault time served.
Yes, I apologize, Judge. I forgot he had the DWI pending.
Now that one will probably be a different rec.
We'll take the time served as well, Your Honor.
Well, you can't do a time served because that's got to be.
I know.
That's a minimum 2. So
Yeah.
unless
Unless they want to reduce it, like
they reduced it, So, well, anyway, we're not here on that case. We're only here on the other case. So since they're
Right.
going to let him out on, does he have a place to stay? That's one thing.
He does, Your Honor. My understanding. Okay, so he's 52 years old. He is a U.S. citizen. He's all his life he's lived here in El Paso. All of his family resides here in El Paso. He's single, but he does have a 7-year-old daughter. He does have his own business. He's a painter. He has a painting business, and he can, if he gets released on bond, he can live with his sister at 534 Francis, El Paso, Texas 79905. And this offense that we're here today, Judge, that is holding him in jail. This is an incident that occurred back on September of 2022.
Right, September 21st, 2022.
Correct. And then the DWI, he picked up that offense on November. I believe that what happened is he got released and then he got picked up again on the warrant, I guess, for the violation on the assault. And so he's been in custody ever since.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of time custody. So I don't have a problem getting him released because I'm sure he'll just come back in and plead to the time served.
Right.
Because he, with his history, he doesn't. That'll be probably fairly simple, and we can do that, sometime in the next month or so. Get that case resolved. I don't know about, then maybe you can figure out a way to resolve the DWI 3 too. Also,
Correct.
Okay. Did you have any problems with, since you're gonna let him plead to a time served, Ms. Espinosa, of just giving him a PR bond on this assault case?
No, Your Honor.
Am I allowed to give him let's see. It is one injury. It isn't one that I'm prohibited, is it?
I don't know, Judge.
Why don't you look at that, Mr. Uraga and Ms. Espinosa? As long as I'm not prohibited, I will. There are certain ones, and it strikes me that it's possible that this might be in the prohibited batch of cases. If it is, I'll set something like a $100 cash surety bond or something like that.
Okay.
So just make sure which it is so that I can take care of that bond.
Yeah. So I'll look it up, Your Honor. But I don't.
It's normally, that the one it's a little trickier. It's normally if it's an injury to a child is the one I'm thinking. But it may only be it's a sexual assault to a child. So I'd have to look at the table to see which ones are prohibited and which ones are not under some legislation
I
from
have.
the last session legislature.
Okay.
So I don't know the answer to that one, but as soon as I know the answer to that, I can do that Monday morning and get that taken care of. I would do it tomorrow, but we're closed tomorrow. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, we'll do, Your Honor, and I'll look into it as well, and if I find something, we'll email to the court and copy Ms. Espinosa.
All right. Okay, then let's see. Ms. Pettis, you're here on Mr. Salas on his bond, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, and this is a case of the court recalls. We had a review hearing back in February. And
Yeah, review hearing, bench warrant, theft charge, P-file felony, 2 misdemeanors like evading, resisting,
correct.
not,
So we
he
had-
didn't report for since December of 2022. And what were we going to do here?
So an agreement had been reached that it would be 30 days ACOP and the court would give him credit, and that it would be reset 2 weeks after our review hearing in February. We are before the court now with regards to this case. My understanding is from ADA Espinosa, and she can confirm that that still remains the agreement. The other cases for his misdemeanors have been filed. He was scheduled for bond hearings in Judge Vasquez court, and I asked for permission for this court to hear them, given the fact that everything would be contingent on the outcome of today's hearing. And she did grant this court permission to address the bond hearings in his misdemeanor cases. But that is my understanding, was that it was 30 days to be released back to the streets and on probation. The court at that time wanted to know why Mr. Salas had not relocated to San Antonio, since that was a condition when he was placed on probation. From speaking to Mr. Salas, who was present from the downtown annex via Zoom, he indicated that he did reach out to his probation officer, Mr. Guerra, on numerous times via emails, via phone, as well as in person, to let him know that he was requesting transfer to San Antonio. It was my understanding that Mr. Guerra had indicated that he would start the paperwork, and that was never done. But he did place the probation department on notice with regards to his request to transfer to San Antonio to live with his sister, Cynthia Salas. And he is still willing to transfer once his misdemeanor cases are disposed of.
Okay, Mr. Guerra, what's happening? Has he tried to get his probation?
But when this came up, when he came to me, I asked him for addresses, information about where he's gonna move. Cause as you know, it's a process, it's not a
Right.
another thing. He never brought it in, and then he absconded because he picked up all those charges. Just never brought it in. I don't know why he said he provided that information to me. Also, the department's recommendation is to him be modified into the intensive probation gang caseload. He does qualify.
Yeah, I think I
Qualified as a interstate mafia gang member.
yes, I did say the probation would be modified to gang caseload. I did say that. That was at our February 17th. Is that right? Is that your all's memory, Ms. Pettis and Ms. Espinosa? Because that's what my note indicates.
I don't recall with regards to the intensive modification to the gang unit. I don't recall that.
Okay. Well, I did say I would, because it's in the same note with the 30 days. So it sounds like to me that that was part of all of this. All right. I mean, I'm certainly willing to modify the probation. I guess, what do I do? Just withdraw the warrant, the bench warrant?
He's already booked on everything, Your Honor.
It would be released to streets on the probation, Judge.
Release the street. Okay.
And
Now,
Your Honor-
and until we actually formally transfer you to San Antonio, you're going to have to go through this gang task force. You understand? Okay. Now, even if you go over there, they probably have something similar, but you'll have to continue to do that. I'm not as worried about it over there. You're probably not familiar with the gangs over there, but whatever the terms and probations, let's modify the terms. Let's I'll sign those mods. We'll release to the streets.
And Your Honor, just for the
PR.
clarification, I know only one case was set, but he does have 3 cases that were set and motions were filed on all 3 cases. It is 2019 0D0 2465, 2020 0D0 934, 2021 0D0 1619.
Right, I see all of those cases. Yeah, we'll have to prepare all of that paperwork so I could sign all of that. Probably can't get that done until Monday because tomorrow's a holiday. And so we're gonna have to wait until that happens, but I will sign as soon as we can do it Monday morning, and hopefully then when you get out, report back to Mr. Guerra. And then Mr. Guerra will make sure you go in the right direction. Okay, Mr. Salas? Okay.
And Your Honor, will the court be granting a PR bond, of course, if without any objection, of course, if the state doesn't have any with regards to his misdemeanor cases?
Yeah, I don't. Do you have any? I don't think you have any objection, do you, on the misdemeanors?
No, Your Honor. Well, I don't.
All right. Well, very good. Then we'll do that.
The court, like the case numbers for the misdemeanors?
Well, I don't need them so much as the clerk needs them.
We don't prepare the misdemeanor,
And
bond
well, the
papers,
county clerk will have to prepare those.
and we weren't aware that there was going to be bonds for misdemeanors, so we don't have a misdemeanor clerk.
But you can find, you can get hold of the county clerk and,
Yes, if you want to send me an email, I can send them an email and hopefully they can prepare the paperwork.
so we can do that as soon as I get back Monday morning.
Okay, Your Honor. Thank you very
All
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You may. Okay. Then finally we have Mr. Peterson. And whose is that? Is it yours or Mr. Morales's?
Judge, that Mr. Peterson is mine, Judge.
Okay. There's 2 charges here.
Judge, Mr. Peterson pled guilty to 4 misdemeanor cases in county criminal court at law number 2 back in December. And I guess at some point, well, we got Mr. Peterson here, Judge. I'll restate everything so we make sure we get it on the record.
Yes, he was rearrested for some misdemeanors, some thefts and some criminal trespasses, things like that. But there was the other problem. That was out of Judge Enchando's court.
But I think we took care of all 4 of the misdemeanors back in December, Judge.
Okay. Then what he's on, there was this case, the 2021 case, where they had recommended 5 probation deferred. That was a 1 to 4 gram case that occurred back on about November 13th of 2021. And then he comes up with this new case, the 2023 0D01112 case, which is also possession of controlled substance, again, 1 to 4 grams. And that's why I revoked his PR bond in the 2021 0D03213, because he was rearrested for another pretty much identical offense. And the new one was like 2.8 grams meth. And then I needed a combined rec. The last time we talked about it officially was December 8th of 2022. And that's where that's the last official communications that I've had on this case that I'm aware of.
And about a week later is when we took care of the misdemeanors with Judge Anchondo. What we're hoping to do here, well, we really want to dispose of these cases. I know the court does as well. Mr. Peterson's been in custody now for about 4 months and some change. Judge. I think originally there was a recommendation out there at some point. Evelyn, you
There
have
wa-
to correct
there
me if
was,
I'm
there
wrong.
was a 5 deferred, but it was only as to the 2021 3213. And so that's why I said in December, based on the new case, we need a new rec. We need a combined rec. And I don't know what that combined is. Have you come up with a combined rec on these cases?
Yes, Judge. Well, I mean, I wanted to see what the new case was recently filed and what it entailed. So it looks like it was an aggregate of 2.8 grams of meth. And it doesn't seem very egregious. It's basically he had a warrant when police approached. And so I'll go ahead and keep the 5 deferred on this case as well. The defendant was very cooperative with the officer, and it happened about a week after the first incident.
Let's and that was 5 deferred. I apologize. I froze there for a moment. I've been having good
Yes,
reception.
five deferred. She didn't up the rec at all. It's 5 deferred, concurrent
On one
both.
and dismissed on
No,
both?
No, on both. It's combined rec, a plea on both. And then but there'd be concurrent. In other words, she didn't go like, now we need 10 deferred or something, or 8 deferred. She kept the rec identical.
And Evelyn, would you consider dismissing one and then just having the 5 deferred on the other? Is that something we could do? Or you want both?
I'm gonna keep both. I mean, I don't understand why.
Okay, what I want to do is, I don't really see a terrible necessity for a bond hearing when, if in fact we're going to do a plea if we're going to do a plea next week, we can just do the plea next week, and then we don't have to worry about bonds. We can just go straight on to probation, get some treatment, get some things going for him, because that seems to be the problem. I'm always a little concerned when you put somebody out on bond where they were in on one charge, a drug charge, they get a new drug charge, you let them back out, and they get no treatment in between, that they may have, then they get another one, and then you got more trouble. And that's always concerning. And that's why if you can get them to get the plea done, get it all together, get them into treatment, then you got a chance that they're going to not have another drug charge come up. And that's what usually that kind of works better generally for the defendant, because I've seen too many cases where you get out and then something else comes up. And but I don't want to spend a lot of time resolving this case, because it's from the defendant's standpoint. He's been in custody more than enough. That's a lot of punishment. It's plenty of punishment. He's had how many days? 136 days in jail. 136 in jail. You know, that's enough punishment. And he was cooperative. He seems to want treatment. And so that's what we need to get him. Let me think about the bond or discuss the plea with him, but if not, then I'll discuss it further with you. I'll just take it under advisement until Monday, when you can, or Tuesday, whenever you can get out to see him, hopefully soon, get back to me and tell me what his interests are, what he wants to do, and then we'll resolve this hopefully very rapidly.
And Judge, I think Mr. Peterson already has probation on the misdemeanors. I'm guessing that if Ms. Espinosa can get the plea papers early next week, I think we can resolve this a week from today. Mr. Peterson, thumbs up? Sounds like it?
I could, it's okay.
I'll talk to him and find out, Judge. I was
All right.
hoping we could. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you, Judge.